Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Scottish News Network. I am your anchor, Devin Slack. Tonight, we cover the latest Scottish rebellion. Our first guest tonight is the late King Macbeth.
Woo, Macbeth! Yay!
Good evening, Mr. Slack. Thank you for having me. Good evening, sir. So why don't you tell us, how did you become King of Scotland?
Well, it all happened after the rebellion between the former Thane of Cawdor and King Duncan, another former king. So, I fought valiantly as a general under King Duncan, and he rewarded me with the title Thane of Cawdor because the old one who rebelled against Duncan died. So, I was pretty high up in the rank of Scottish nobles. And then, a couple weeks later, at a feast at my castle, Duncan was tragically murdered by his own guards during the night.
You don't say.
Indeed, it was sad.
Tragic.
So, then his sons mysteriously fled the scene to different countries, Ireland and England. Nobody quite knows why. It seems pretty suspicious to me.
Why don't you tell us more about Duncan's sons?
Well, there was Malcolm the elder who fled to England, and Donalbain the younger who fled to Ireland. Seems like very suspicious behavior for two sons to leave the country after their father was just murdered. Also, giving up Malcolm's position as King of Scotland, which is how I got the title, because there was no other successor.
Indeed it is. Who do you think killed the king?
Well, I, for one, believe it was Malcolm and Donalbain plotting to kill their own father. I can't imagine why, although their behavior after his death seems far too suspicious for it to be anybody else.
Absolutely horrible. How did you like your time as king?
Well, my time as king was great at first. All the power was amazing, and all the bonuses were great. And then, the stresses started to pile up. There were rebellious lords, the people were unhappy, and I just couldn't keep everyone satisfied. So it got very stressful towards the end, and towards the end of my rule, it was just a terrible time.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Why don't you tell us about your wife, Lady Macbeth?
Well, my wife and I were partners in greatness once, but after I became king, things started to go downhill. The stresses of being queen were just far too much for her. They just piled up and pushed her to the limit. It was not a pretty sight.
Pushed her to the limit? What do you mean by that?
She took her own life in the end.
You don't say.
I do.
I'm very sorry for you, sir.
Thank you.
But as a surprise guest, we bring you the ghost of Lady Macbeth. How is your relationship with Macbeth?
It's good. He's my husband. There's blood on my hands and it won't get off.
Please, tell us, why did you kill yourself?
Because, the blood wouldn't get off my hands. Where is Lady Macduff? Where is she?
I think she means her position as queen just got a little too stressful. Let's go to our weather wizard with the weather.
The weather sucks.
Well, thank you, weather wizard. Now, our next guest, the leader of the latest Scottish rebellion, Macduff. Oh. Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir. Why did you consider Macbeth your enemy?
Well, he wasn't paying attention to what the people wanted. He was doing his own priorities, and he just got too consumed by the power. And he also, without warning, went and killed my family.
I'm so sorry. Do you think he was a good leader?
No.
That would make sense. Who do you think killed Duncan?
Well, at first, I was caught up with everybody else and believing maybe his sons did it or the guards. And just because the guards were covered in blood and Macbeth accused them and then the sons fled. But then Lady Macbeth fainted and I found that kind of suspicious and I don't know, it just seemed to me to not add up and I was just always wary of Macbeth because he seemed to gain the most from what happened.
So you believe it was Macbeth who killed Duncan?
Yeah.
Do you think Malcolm will be a better king than Macbeth?
I firmly do believe it. That's why I allied myself with him. He was there when I found out about my family, and he told me that I should help him take revenge on Macbeth for all the wrongdoing he's done. And I firmly do believe that Malcolm will be a very good leader, and he will have the people's best interests at heart.
Well, that is good news for Scotland. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we have our last guest, the ghost of Banquo.
Woo! Banquo's my favorite!
Good evening, Your Ghostliness. So, why don't you tell us your version of this tale of tragic events?
So the three weird sisters came to us after the battle, and they hailed Macbeth as Thane of Glamis, which he already was, and Thane of Cawdor, and Keen hereafter, which was really weird because he wasn't either of those things. But before they left, they also told me that my descendants would eventually also become king. Yeah, really weird. So when the king sent the two messengers to tell Macbeth that he was Thane of Cawdor, you could see in his eyes that he was planning something. So the night of the feast, when Duncan died, that was Macbeth's doing, and he blamed it on the guards. You know, I always thought Macbeth and I were the best of friends, but I think after the prophecy, he wasn't right. Like, after he heard that my descendants would become king, I think he got a little scared. So he sent murderers after me and Fleance, because he didn't want us in the picture anymore.
Who exactly is Fleance?
Fleance is my son, my very good son. Where the murderers failed to kill him, but they did end up killing me. I couldn't get away. I had to protect my son.
Well, I can't see you're dead. I am very sorry.
I am very dead.
But was that the last anyone ever saw of you?
Well, yes and no. No one after that saw me alive again, but some few people saw me dead as a ghost. Which I am right now. Yes, you are included in that.
Fantastic. Tell us more.
Well, the night of the banquet, right after Macbeth had sent the murderers to kill me, they came back and told him that I was dead, but that Fleance had escaped. So during the banquet, when he was giving his speech and he was looking for a seat, he saw me in his seat. No one else could see me, but he was freaking out. All right, he didn't know what was going on, and everyone thought he was going crazy. Lady Macbeth had to calm him and explain to everyone that he was just going through a little stress, you know. But you could see that I had really got to him as a ghost.
You tricky devil. Now, did Macbeth ever hear from the witches again?
Well, after he saw my ghost, he was like really crazy. So he wanted to find something in the future that he could know about. So he went to find the witches again. The witches, they came to him, but this time they had to talk to Hecate, who was the goddess of all witchery. And she told them to tell him some specific things. Well, the witches, they told him that he would be safe until the Burnham Woods came to Dunsinane. And also that he would not be slain by one who was of woman born. So Macbeth thought he was very safe. He was very confident because neither of those things seemed likely at all, right? I mean, who sees woods coming at you? Woods don't really move. They're planted in the ground, right?
That does seem quite ridiculous.
Yes. So he was very confident. But then Macduff and Malcolm, they were in England and they were gathering supporters. So one of their plans was to cut up the Burnham Woods and carry them to hide the numbers in their army. So back at the castle, Macbeth saw these woods coming and he got really scared and angry. And you could tell he was on the verge of insanity already.
And thus ended the short reign of Macbeth. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for today. Join us again tomorrow on the Scottish News Network. This has been your anchor, Devin Slack.